Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and today we're making lamb spare ribs with chimichurri. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know that lamb spare ribs were a thing, but when I think about that, I feel really dumb because why wouldn't they be? But I never got a hold of them until Freedom Run Farm sent me some, and it's honestly some of the best lamb I've had. I've cooked their lamb at least 2 other events out and about just by chance. So I finally reached out to them and I was like, send me something cool. So that's what we're doing today. It's essentially like pork spare ribs, but with lamb, American lamb. We're seasoning our lamb with Roadhouse from Cattleman's Grill today. This is a rub that I made in collaboration with All Things Barbecue and Cattleman's Grill, specifically for something more Southwestern or either South American flavor-wise. So we're just gonna season the back side, let it rest, then flip it over and season the other side. And that's all we're doing to this. These are really easy. Now you guys can see that these lamb ribs, the spare ribs, you know, they're smaller than pork ribs, which means they cook quicker. In fact, it only takes about 3 hours, which is really awesome. You see this nice fat on top of these ribs. I don't want to get rid of any of that. We're just gonna let it cook. Get that extra fat flavor out of there. Seasoning, not too light, not too heavy, somewhere in the middle. Now onto the Yoder Smokers YS640S pellet grill. We're cooking at 275 today with hickory pellets. Like I said, 3-hour cook pretty much. These are about 2.5, 245 in, and they're temping at about 200. But more importantly, you can see how those bones are being exposed. That's a real good indicator of when these are gonna be done. Otherwise, you're just using probe temperature. Ooh, that's getting soft. We're really close. You guys already know this, but the Yoder Smokers YS640S pellet grill is my favorite grill. Cook on it all the time. You see it in most of my videos, and that's for good reason. It's consistent and it's adaptable. So you can do everything from smoking to grilling to cooking wood-fired pizzas inside of it. This is just my go-to, and that's not biased, it's honest. It's the same thing I cook on at home. Now onto the chimichurri. We're gonna do equal parts cilantro and parsley, making sure to slice through these, not chop them down, especially with a nice sharp knife like the Helena from Kangshan. Having a nice chef's knife, crucial in the kitchen. And this one's made from the same German steel they're making Wusthoffs out of, but at 1/4 of the price. A little more knife work here now. I'm just gonna take apart a couple of shallots, about 6 tablespoons. We'll get them peeled and chopped up. Doesn't have to be anything fancy because this is going into the food processor. Doesn't have to be pretty. Now for some garlic. I'm gonna take 3 cloves and break them down on the microplane, super fine. Which isn't super important, like we could just chop them like everything else, but this way they just mix in a little bit easier. If you're not doing your garlic on a microplane, then you're missing out. Microplane is one of my favorite tools, great for zesting, great for garlic, great for ginger. Go pick one up at atbbq.com. Super tender now. See those bones fully exposed? If you wiggle them, they're ready to let loose. That's how we know this is done. They're sitting at about 208 degrees internal temperature. Now into the food processor, both the parsley and the cilantro, our shallots, our garlic. I'm gonna throw in a tablespoon of dried Mexican oregano. I'd rather have fresh, but it's not available right now. 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of capers, Get in there. Get in there. And now 6 tablespoons of our Texas olive ranch extra virgin olive oil. This is the real stuff. Now in place of salt and pepper, we're going to do some Lone Star brisket rub, salt, pepper, garlic, celery seed, and blitz it up. Now you can go as fine or as coarse as you want to with your chimichurri. Ooh, it's right where I like it. Not only are we chopping up everything, but also at the same time we're emulsifying that oil and that vinegar to make a nice creamy sauce. Time to slice into these. The easiest way to do it is to flip them on the other side, look in between the bones, and cut right in those spots. And this is most visible from the bottom side. That's a good looking rib. Juicy. Let's get some chimichurri on there. Maybe a little extra. All right, time for the celebration. Good Lord. Crazy tender, but with a great bark. And that's what happens when you dry smoke something like this with a lot of fat. And by dry smoke, I mean we never wrapped it, never hit foil. It's just smoked open only for about 3 hours. And it's still super juicy, but has a perfect crust on it. And this lamb, this American lamb, it's money. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all of the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.